but certainly one of the better human beings I've had the chance to meet. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only former Springbok and now Cambridge grad, Flip van der Merwe, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, let's go! The Bokker! Let's go, buddy! Let's go, my mate! Let's go! I love it. I love it. Flip, how have you got that shirt? Is that like your dad's original shirt?
No, not at all. Not at all. It's I actually bought it somewhere before the World Cup in 2009, which I had the privilege of watching in London.
Man.
It was beautiful, and it went for shrinking disaster.
I don't want to be this guy. Some people might say because you become a Cambridge academic now, maybe the shirt hasn't shrunk. You know what I'm saying? Could be a little, you know, yeah. Now, listen, dude, I just want to address something. Obviously, people won't know. Is you sent me a photo. You may have been at a business meeting or just having some lunch with somebody. Of you've obviously created a life for yourself now, and you haven't been given that. It doesn't sound like either of you or your brother were given a life. Is you've had to work your tail off. But you sent me a photo of you sitting at, I don't know if it was your local restaurant or whatever. You are living it right now, bro. Shout out to you. Good for you. I just wanted to say that.
Living it, as you said, we all work for where, and I'm privileged to live in one of the beautiful places in the world.
And before we get into the rugby, we've always...
paid my French taxes, so I'll share the photos.
Yeah, pay your taxes. Tell your neighbors Italy to maybe pay some taxes before all of Rome falls apart. But before we get into the rugby, I just want to quickly talk about Cambridge. Maybe you can tell us, because I love when sportsmen know how to transition. It's so rare. The guys, and I think maybe you can talk a little bit about, maybe your brother was your role model, because I know he's an actuary, and was he your role model in terms of there's a time to be that professional rugby player, but and we touched on it before, but now you've transitioned into Flip the man who is an MBA grad at Cambridge, where it's not a participation game there. I'd love to talk about that before we get into it. So let us in. Let us know how you've graduated and what the degree is as well, or the MBA.
Yeah, great question. You need to answer questions by saying it's a great question. No, I was lucky. I was lucky to grow up in a first of all a family that always strive for a balanced life. So you work hard, you get achievement, and stay humble, and as we do, meet is cheap. So the Afrikaans family, and then also I was very fortunate to attend a great school, secondary school where rugby was important, but the emphasis was on academic life and wasn't cultural life and what goes on around. But it's not if you play for the first team, you're not the champion. You don't just pass your mathematical class. You still have to actually put in hard work. And I think that base set up a trampoline for what happens afterwards.
Yeah. Listen. By the way, the school he's maybe too humble. As we know, maybe I'm the second most humble person on this call. I'll tell you where he went. It is a production factory that has given South Africa more sportsmen than anything. Listen, Grey Bloom is not a school. That's an institution. So, man, they must be very, very proud of you. And shout out to you for representing that sportsman. You're not just like lumps of meat that go and do whatever. You're a whole person. And that I'm inspired by that. I'm inspired by you doing Cambridge. And if an idiot like me is inspired, I'm pretty sure there's millions out there who will see what you've done. So shout out to you, bro, and keep rocking. I'm a huge fan of that.
Cheers, man. As you say, MKT inspires. That is what we should do. And I'm a big fan of it. As all the young sports people out there is, if you want to be more mentally stable, get a balanced life. Know you are prepared for what happens in the future. Know you make your own decisions in sport, and you will be a better sports person if you are educated as well.
I love that. Flip, okay. I just want to let you know before we get into the rugby is that I will find the one thing where you haven't done the final level of it, and I'll actually dedicate a 2-hour window to that. That will happen because you are. It's like, hey, by the way, we got the boys in here. We got Paulo, we got Senzo in here, so they'll have some questions for you as well. But let's get into the good stuff, the rugby. We didn't have you on after that first test, which is a disaster. That's bad production from James and sort of letting it slip from me. But after that first test, your thoughts, how were you feeling about that?
It's the fancy new studio. That makes all these errors happen.
Yeah, that's
So yeah, no. After the first test, obviously you have to go back. I think it was a rusty. It was what the best way to explain it. It was a fluid from the box. But you could see what happened is they literally they learned a lot from what happened, and it was actually quite close. How they played, how they just by the way they played, very close to the game in the first test. Obviously took the lessons out of it, but not in the second test. A little bit of rusty spice, and all is good.
it is good. It is damn good because, like in the second test, you know what I saw? I thought Rassie won that game in the press. He did classic Machiavellian tactics. Your thoughts on whether we'd actually won the test match before the game even started?
Exactly. You know what I saw in the second test? It's 29-7.
You better believe it.
You better. 29-7. I mean, that was when you played against a team that is actually not that good. You beat it like with 30 points or whatever. 29-7 is a massive score. That's not close. That wasn't like a bad decision by a referee or anything. It's properly beaten.
Yeah.
As you said with Rossi, I definitely think that in the week leading up to the game, he took off the pressure from the players. There was no pressure on the players. No one talked about any player. There was no focus on any player in particular. The British Lions were trying to, keep up with the sarcastic humor of Rossi, which they couldn't do.
Yep.
And then at the end of the day, the refs were better. There were better decisions made on the field. There was fair options to everyone. They listened to the man, the king, Siak Polisi, and great decisions were made on the day.
Yeah, so I know what you're saying. That beating was like what Grey Bloom would give a St. David's. Senzo, your thoughts on that?
Hey, bro, they'd be piling it against us, but we don't even play them. So, like, hey.
Yeah, that was, like, I think...
We'd be lucky to get 9. We'd be lucky to get 9.
Yeah, that's it.
We'd be lucky to get 9, so yeah.
You know, in high school, it's like sometimes when we played them, they had some guy called Francois Steyn who was actually bigger in high school than he was at the end at 110 in pro rugby. Yeah. And so... like, I can't remember what year it was where they just walked. They literally like a big roller. We got 0, and we were lucky to get 0. Like, we were lucky to register 0 in that game. That would have been what the British Lions felt like last week. Just pummel them down. Just bam, 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 bam. Flip, I want to tell you a quick story about James, who you've met before. And a comparison is that his younger brother is kind of gymming now, like getting bigger. And James used to bully him when they were younger. And I feel like it's going to be the Springbok effect in about 2 or 3 years' time when his brother finally, the gym pays off. So you may have seen James for the very last time in your life. So I just thought I'd let you know that that's kind of happening.
Awesome praise.
Season fees, eh?
I love it. Listen, for the Lions as well, we might as well talk about them as though they're not going to be beaten into a pulp again. They do have a guy who's polarizing, right? I'm not sure what to do with him because that first test, it was the one-man show. It was Itoje and everybody and the other 29 guys. What are your thoughts on Itoje as a player, and is he as special as the British media make out? And what is it about him as a former enforcer that you like?
Yeah, well, I have to stand on the pedestal and say I don't like him actually.
I love it.
As an old school South African second row, I'm not allowed to like another second row.
Sure. Yeah.
But he's that good that he is in that sphere that people hate him. So he's getting that good, and he's very irritating on the field. He's very effective at what he does, his tactics. He is unfortunately getting into a little Carter McCall, little ball where no one is allowed to touch him. He can't do anything wrong. Everything's just everything he touches turns into gold. So that knee on the as much as I like a little bit of the rough stuff, I mean, that's just and nothing from that. It's like it's crazy, you know. I might even make a comeback if that goes again.
Yeah, hey, screw Cambridge. What a waste of time. Let's get an elbow into Toja's face.
Yeah, exactly. So very effective, and I definitely think that's he disrupted the box in the lineouts. Definitely, you could see they weren't settled. He's tactically is getting better and better, and he gets on the right spot at the right time. And he's making life difficult. But yeah, as you said, he was a one man show in that pack this weekend. And if you play against the box, one guy isn't enough.
Okay, well said. Tell me about back in your days. You said something. You might make a comeback. That'll be awesome. By the way, we're going to clip that because it's not a day of like proper reporting. Is Flip van der Merwe possibly to make a comeback? And we're just going to put that as a clip and without actually giving it context. So what I wanted to know, because I've always wondered this, and I ask my friends who are coaches, but the role of a number 4 and a number 5, just in the traditional sense, and I know in South African rugby we actually value our locks, is that what is the difference between a number 4 and a number 5? Because it always looks to me like the 4 guys like you is the enforcer and the 5 is the jumper, but maybe you can give us a little more detail for those of us who are dum-dums who just watch it on TV and think we know everything.
I do think back. I don't want to say back in the day and sound like an old fart, but it was a more precise. It was a more precise description. 5 or 6 years ago, where the number 4 lock was literally, there's a brick wall, just run through the brick wall. The number 5 actually makes decisions and makes the line out work. And as you say, there's some people who play the piano and some people who carry the piano. And so number 4 lock was definitely just there to carry the piano. You can see, like in the Springboks, like with the Lions as well, it's much more metamorphosed like into one role. And you see all these guys are like ultimate sportsmen.
Yeah.
You see the likes of Kitoje, even Alan Wynn, they're athletic, they're big, they can do both roles these days. So I don't think there's a particular role, but I do think they still have maybe more line-out decision-making time. That's where 4 and 5 might still play a role, but I don't see that is still an ultimate decision-making thing. Yeah.
That's interesting. So you actually think it's just becoming, like you say, almost you got to be a hybrid in both. You got to be able to jump. You got to be able to be smart enough to play. But also, as you said, hey, let's also keep it real. Rugby is organized violence.
Exactly. As you said, it's organized chaos, organized violence. I like that. That's a great phrase. And yeah, you need to be even you look at the macros these days. You look how easy Mostert is shifting to 7 now.
Yeah.
All those guys are you're a rugby player now. You're not a specific position, and you need to be conditioned in that type of sense.
Yeah, I like that. Listen, maybe Senzo's got something for you before we get into the weekend. Senzo, you got anything for Flip?
Hi, Flip. How are you doing?
You're good yourself, man.
Well, thanks. So, if you had to choose a man of the series, I know we haven't played the third game, but if you had to choose a man of the series out of the first 2 games, who would it be?
It would be tough. I would at the moment. I would that man Damien Delende.
Okay.
I think he's the best in the world at the moment. He's just untouchable. To see how hard he worked to come back. He was injured. I think he was injured still a week before the first test, and he's just in such good condition. Mm-hmm. Same as Siya Kolisi.
Right.
I think the leadership he showed in the second test, and he came a little bit under pressure. Everyone showed that clips where was it Matthew Ronaldo who just refused to speak to him, during the match and stuff like that. So he had a little bit of pressure to perform and be a captain and be inspiring as he was in 2019. So I think to take all that, I'll give my cap to Siya Kolisi so far. Yeah.
All right.
No, hey.
That is good. Touchwood.
Yeah. Like now we've spoken about Sicily, and thanks a lot. Some Cambridge guy who's living his best life in France has just maybe ruined something that comes around every 12 years. I'm not saying that's what you're doing, but it's possible. So I just want to say, I think Damien Delende is of Portuguese origin. I stand to be corrected. Is de Allende Portuguese? Paulo, we got you here to consult on that.
No.
All right, so I've just made that up. Well, that's embarrassing. I mean, poor Damien. He can listen. He can be whatever he is. My point was going to be is we've got a Portuguese guy in here as well, so we're actually an international show as well. Like not just the Springboks.
Maybe he's been to that Portuguese restaurant.
Could be.
Yes, that's true. Is it Portuguese or Brazilian? Which is a little bit racist on my part. Is that they're not the same country? But what's the restaurant where you go and eat and
Rodizio.
Rodizio's, where they do the dancing. I don't know if you ever go to Rodizio's when you were in South Africa?
I've never done Rodizio's, but I'm trying to. Vasco's. Isn't Vasco's the other Portuguese place?
Yeah, Vasco's is the notorious place down in Cape Town. That's a big problematic. They have something called Castle Lager Tank, which they actually brew on site.
Yes.
And you have to drink everything in that tank that day. So that sounds like something I think we could all be up for.
It's lovely when you get a message you can get behind.
I also have to throw it away. Who wants that? Nobody wants it.
So I just thought, it's important that we know it, even though I've completely made up that Damien de Allende is Portuguese, I thought I'd tie it into a story. We're in content, you know?
Could be. I can't say. It's not a...
I've never claimed to be accurate or honest or journalistic in any sort of way. I'm in the content game. Will people click on it? Damien de Allende, possibly Portuguese, possibly Taiwanese. I don't know that, but somebody will click on it for that reason. All right, listen. Let's talk about let's talk about the real. Let's talk about the action, because you can see. I don't know if you can see. I might as well get the scarf on. You know what I'm saying? I might as well get this going here, because it is that weekend. Let's go. You know. Well, listen. I said I'm great. I'm not perfect. Let's be very honest. I could have had I've only got so table on or table to have. You know. So talk to me about this weekend. Is that we're obviously. Number one is we've got to win the battles we won in the second half. Can we carry that on? Where do you see the key battles this weekend? Because I think now we broke their spirits, I hope, but we still got to take care of business, right?
Yes, obviously I don't think you can break something as traditional, as proud as the Lions is. You know, that they will come back up hungry, and they need to fight for pride. And that's, you know, it's easier said than done, but that's definitely something they will play for. So I definitely see the changing point this weekend again being the lineup, again being that maul we used so efficiently last weekend. If the Lions by some hook or by some crook manage to stop that, you know, what will our plans be? Sorry, how will we adapt to those attacks from the Lions, and then what they will bring? You can see the type of team they selected. They selected a small attacking team.
Yeah.
A little something that I'm very scared of: the little Adams factor, the Josh Adams, the try scoring machine from Wales.
Yeah.
Man is hot like a young boy going to Tiger.
Let's go! That's a South African. So for those people, yes, that one's for us. Let's go! Everybody got Tiger. Oh man,
Tiger. Oh,
he's out here like that.
He's having it. Eh?
I hear you there. All right. So we're talking about him as someone to look out for, and so that more crucial. And I totally agree with you there. I think that's something we're gonna have to make sure that we take care of. Just one last question is that you know what's been interesting for me. I don't know if it's the injury or whatever, but Pollard hasn't been super on it, and we're still able to dominate like this. I mean, is he still the guy? Is he still the guy going forward in your mind? I don't know if Elton's a starter. He's certainly a test guy, because I think he's kicked under pressure, played in Super Rugby finals. But what do you think of Pollard and his development? Do you think he's still our guy going forward?
No, I think Pollard, we're giving that little Lewis Hamilton effect. You know, we're judging him by he's only winning by 5 meters now.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
He's still definitely he's definitely the best. You know, that little cross kick he put in for the first try from PP. The vision he had to take a pressure match like that and still pass by foot. You know, that is world class quality. Definitely a little bit rusty, but I still think he's the man. And then on the bench, we have the legend. If something happens, we've at least 50 points coming from the bench.
You just said a name right there, a human. I'm not sure if he's human or he's a pit bull. I'm actually not sure about it. Mapimpi's game last week is like we're starting to get into sort of, Mapimpi is kind of a late developer, but we're starting to get into world-class territory now. He's starting to remind me of Habana without the kicking game. If he adds a kicking game, flip, we've already got a problem on our hands because he's a fetcher, he's a winger, he's a finisher. I don't know anything he can't do. He adds a kicking game. We're talking about Brian Habana levels.
Exactly. So that's why don't even make him kick. Just give him the ball and make him run. You're good with it. He's so fast. That's some of the things you see, and I'm so glad I'm not playing rugby anymore. That guy.
Yeah, he's like a pit bull as well. I kind of, the silky wingers coming into rugby now, but he's like still that. He fetches. He'll get stuck in there, or get an elbow in there. You know what I'm saying?
Don't want to find him in the street alley or by yourself.
No.
It's dangerous.
Talk to me about a result. All right, we're in the content game. What are we thinking? I mean, we only won 29. What was it? 27-9.
27-9. Yeah.
It was only 27-9 last week. Talk to me about a result this week. What are you thinking? Is there any chance that the people from Britain do anything against the Bokke this weekend?
Mate, I've heard the Bokke are listening. Bok van Black already started today. They are thinking about St. Helena Bay. They are ready for this weekend. I can't see them changing tactics to Springboks, and maybe because the gravity of it being a final might play a little bit on the tactics. We are missing Puff. We've got Bokke. That's right.
Yeah.
So I'll give a little bit of leniency, so we can go 17-9 maybe.
All right, when we have you on next week and you've got it wrong, because now you claim you're a Cambridge guy, if it's not absolutely right, we're going to have to look into your degree. I mean, if you're at Cambridge, you've got to get things right. It's 17-9. That's what Flip van der Merwe said.
Yeah. I'll do push-ups for every point I'm wrong.
Oh, okay. This guy.
All right.
Let's flex on him. Not only NBA, not only Bok legend, not only Bulls legend. I'll flex on him live in HD 1080. Oh, this guy. Flip, you're amazing, dude. And I love having you on. I look forward to chatting next week. And hey, good luck out there. It must be. What do the young kids say? Must be nice because you've worked your way to some position in life and you deserve everything you got, pal. I can't wait to catch up on the other side. Thanks so much for your time.
Cheers, guys. Keep well.
Yeah, let's go.